So, Bigpod,
What?
I think that we talked about trains for a little bit too long because I took an Amtrak train last week, and it was an experience.
I believe it.
Yeah. First of all, the train showed up 40 minutes late. It sat at the station for another hour. And then when we took off, going from Cincinnati to Chicago, which is only like a 7-8 hour ride if the train doesn't stop. Thanks, Kat. Yeah, it was out of only like a 7 to 8 hour trip, assuming the train doesn't actually stop. It actually did stop several times because cargo trains get priority over passenger rail in the United States.
Huh.
So my entire train trip, which was only supposed to be like a 10-hour trip, wound up taking 16 and a half hours.
Oh, great.
And I rode coach, which means that I didn't get food included with my ticket.
Huh. Interesting.
Which, thankfully, the food was pretty good. So let's play a little bit of music, and then we can, talk about a show. Hey guys, I'm your host Josh, and welcome to No Tux Allowed. And today, I'm wearing my beautiful white t-shirt. This one is actually brand new. I bought it. In the meantime, Bigpod decided he was going to play opposite day and put on a black shirt that's a little bit fancier than what he normally wears here.
Yeah. It's a shirt.
Yeah, it's a shirt. All right, Bigpod, I just want to tell you that I'm excited about this very first topic because as soon as I saw this, I was remembering that the only reason why the GNU project started was because of a printer. And because, the printer was no longer open source. So, I just randomly saw this in, the tech news feed. But apparently, this company came out and created this device called the Open Printer. That is an open source printer.
Yeah.
Well, supposed to be.
Will be. Possibly one day.
Yeah, potentially. Because, they're on crowd supply right now, and that's how I found it. So, this printer is an open source, repairable inkjet printer designed for makers, artists, and anyone tired of throwaway hardware. But what this is a printer that uses the drivetrain from a very standard HP inkjet printer. So you can actually, use your consumer grade ink cartridges with this. In this case, being like the HP 63 cartridge or HP 302 for if you're European. Which means that this is available. It only prints black.
No, it actually has a black and color.
Oh yeah, it does have color. Okay, yeah. At first I thought it was only black, but I guess not. But this is actually looking like a pretty cool deal. But we might have some problems with it. For one thing, all the pictures of it that they have on the crowd supply link, which I do have linked in the show notes, shows that it uses rolls of paper rather than standard pre-cut sheets. Which we did a little bit of searching on the Amazons, and doesn't look like it's necessarily available.
Yeah.
Not for like this small of a size, but it does claim that it can take standard sheets. But I think you have to manually feed them into the printer.
I think you need to make a paper holder, and everything else will be handled by the same system that pulls in the roll.
That
If
that
you
is
ask me,
possible. Yeah.
yeah,
But the thing that makes me actually kind of excited about this though is that if it does, if it can't, if we do find like a roll of paper for it, that means that I can use this for printing, like banners,
yeah.
which is pretty cool. I look at this and I see like many options for like my many various Dungeons and Dragons maps that are oftentimes too small or too big to fit on a standard sheet of paper. So then I have to stretch it across multiple sheets and then figure out how to tape them all together. This could, alleviate that frustration a little bit. But the one thing that I'm kind of down on is that they're not advertising with an Ethernet port.
Yeah, they just have a USB Type C, a Type A, Wi-Fi 802.11 AC, and Bluetooth 4.1.
Yeah, which it's a little sad. The board that they're using for this is a Raspberry Pi. It's a Pi Zero W, which is how you get the wireless.
Right now,
So
I'm thinking, could you possibly use the USB port for Ethernet adapter?
it would have to be. I think it would actually have to be the USB-C port to be able to do
Yeah,
that. So
yeah.
potentially, we don't really know too much as to what they're actually using.
Well, if you can get into the firmware, probably.
Yeah, which they claim that you will be able to.
Yeah, then
They
you can
haven't.
probably make
Yeah, they
USB-C
haven't.
based.
Yeah, they haven't actually posted anything with that yet. But I think this is a pretty cool concept. At least we can finally say that we have an open source printer.
Yeah, you can say that since you care about that.
Well, I'm sorry, I still use printers.
Exactly. You
Yeah,
should be
but
sorry to yourself.
nah, color me old fashioned. I can actually print out. Government forms that I have to do every 3 months.
Okay, yeah. By the way, I also own a printer and still use it.
Yeah, yeah.
Although I mostly use the scanner component. Because that's what I need to scan things into a computer, not print out.
All right, so now that we're done talking about printers, let's talk about artificial intelligence because this is a tech podcast. It's mandated at this point that we have to talk about artificial intelligence because, heaven forbid, there's absolutely nothing else going on in the world to talk about right now. We swear.
Yeah, sadly.
That said, in this case, it turns out that people really like image generators, like really, really like them,
Apparently.
and they're all using the same prompts,
Great.
which is
Great.
yeah,
Very
it's great.
creative people. Very creative.
Yeah, yeah. So, as reported by Midjourney AI, the most popular artist that's referenced is Alphonse. I'm gonna say that's either Muka or Mucha.
I wouldn't know,
With
sorry.
yeah, which they
Not
just
into
give a
fine
prompt.
arts.
Yeah, they just give a prompt count of 230,000. I don't know if that's like prompts per day, prompts per hour, or whatever. But
I don't know.
yeah. Also, McDonald's shows up on this list too.
Yeah, and among probably more known people, I guess would be director Wes Anderson, since movie directors tend to be more well known than fine artists like
Yeah,
Alphonse over there. And like people want some, like, for example, they want the video to be in style of Wes Anderson, or image to be in style of this Alphonse Muka, whatever his name is. Sorry for butchering your name.
Yeah, so with people, just using these, uh, you gotta remember these AI tools are also trained off of like publicly available art assets as well. So like anything that's supposedly listed as of a public domain or some kind of a free license on like deviant art, for example. People they get trained off of any content that's put on there or anything that basically just shows up in Google image search. Because heaven forbid, why would they bother checking to see if they're actually allowed to use the assets?
Yeah,
Which is something we'll get into a little bit. But
I think
this
there
is
was recently one of the companies actually said that basically whatever's on the internet is free game for them.
yeah,
If I remember,
yeah.
I won't say who, I won't say what because I don't want to quote them, but if I remember correctly, they basically said that it's a free game for everybody who makes models.
I kind of half want to say that was meta because
No.
we had a we had a topic about that a couple episodes back.
Yeah,
But anyway,
it was
anyways,
another company.
yeah. Anyways, this is leading to potentially model collapse, which is a thing that happens when AI systems just start training on their own
Yeah.
or each other's content.
Basically on user-generated content using the
Yeah.
AI prompts. And
Which means that your images are going to get blander and blander and blander and blander and more generic than ever.
as the as the as the article says, if everybody wants their videos to look like how Wes Anderson does it, everything will sooner or later start looking like the Grand Budapest Hotel.
Yeah.
Basically, it will be that movie essentially, whether you like it or not. Because in the day, that's what the statistical model associates with the director or those two words, with that
Yeah.
context. So sooner or later, if you have a lot of that looks like this, a lot of sooner or later you're gonna go back to the original content, which is not a good idea to go back to.
Yeah. And that's because this is happening, it could potentially affect the artists as well. And the
Yeah,
artists have taken note. As there's a pending class action lawsuit against Midjourney specifically.
yeah,
Where they're saying, "Hey, stop training off of our content because you're going to make us look bad." Not
yeah,
because Midjourney does such a good job, but because Midjourney will eventually do such a poor job. And heaven forbid, maybe nobody's going to be looking for Greg Rutkowski specifically. They might just be looking for like fantasy illustrations.
they might just be going, what did go, image of a door in style of Greg Rutkowski.
Yeah, which, which depending on how Midjourney draws the door, might not match his exact style.
Yeah, or might be exactly his image, his illustration of a door at some point.
Yeah. So, we have a Tom's Guide article written linked in the show description. I do recommend that you at least give it a bit of at least a cursory cursory read, not league but read. They do they Tom's normally does a really good job of citation in these articles. Like you can see the hypertext links and everything, unlike some sources. Which, hey, good job, Tom's. You're still showing us how to actually report things on the internet. Thank you. But Bigpod,
But
there's something we got to talk about.
oh no,
When I open up Tom's Guide, I got a prompt for cookies.
oh,
Yeah.
good old EU cookie banner.
Yeah. I don't know what the internet looked like before this banner, because that was
Neither
so
do
long
I.
ago. That was
Neither do I.
so long ago. These have always shown up.
Yeah.
And I either always hit reject all or accept all.
Yeah.
And at this point, it's kind of just muscle memory.
Honestly, I think I do remember vaguely the internet before cookie banners, but
Yeah,
yeah.
like websites just loaded. They didn't prompt anything besides like maybe a full screen ad. Which that was easy. Ad blockers existed back then too.
Yeah. Like the current iteration of cookie banners came out, oh, how many years? 2012, I believe.
Yeah. But anyways, first of all, we need to dig into why why we get these banners, and what cookies actually are to begin with. Because heaven forbid, I hear people talk about cookies all the time in regards to privacy, but nobody that I see these days really explain what a cookie actually is. So, let's talk about this, right?
Yeah.
So, a cookie is quite literally a file that gets saved locally to your computer somewhere. Your web browser may or may not actually expose where the file is saved these days, depending on how smart your web browser is wanting to be. But
Yeah.
all this is just a simple file that has like a hash token of something that regards to, say, how a website is configured. Like, say, if you check the Remember Me option when you're logging into a website, that's saved to that cookie. Same thing with, like, say, any manually set, like, dark mode on a
Yeah.
website, and so on. That's generally what a cookie is. They're not really bad things.
No.
But,
Cookies are essentially one of the three possible ways data is stored by browser on your on local system and associated with a specific website. So cookies are the most simple one and also at the same time most smallest. They are used for things like whether you click the remember me button, whether you have an, let's say, example of an ID of a cart on a shopping website. Another example would be an ID of a login and the token with which you can continue the session again with the remember me button, or just generally when you're going from sub site to a sub page, from one sub page to another. So for example, I
yeah,
don't have to each time you're on, let's say, Facebook or YouTube, and you go to another video, you don't have to log in again.
yeah. Now, the only trade-off to cookies, and where the privacy argument comes around, is that because they're an open standard, it means that websites can just index all the cookies that are on your web browser, which means
Yeah.
then they can track you
Yeah.
and build up
So
like, yeah. So that's like so back in, I think, around 2008, this started like raising some real serious privacy concerns because heaven forbid, Let's Encrypt didn't exist yet.
yeah.
So people were getting phished all the time. They were getting accounts compromised. So the EU decided, hey, we need to clamp down a little bit on like the cookies and give users more control, because heaven forbid, it used to be that by default websites would just save everything to the cookie. You had no control over it
Yeah.
whatsoever. Well, the EU said, hey, we need to at least put something in the way, so that way the user is forced to interact with a website to determine if they want to allow the website to enable like these various features that the cookies are used for on the website, like say tracking. And the cleanest solution was that full screen banner that you quite often get on
Yeah.
websites these days.
Yeah. The uh, I just found out the law that like required it came in full effect in 2018. So both of us should remember the internet before that. But
Yeah.
but yeah, it
Well,
is wild. You know, everything blurred. Everything is blurred before the great stay at home
yeah.
years.
Well, anyways, the European Commission has identified that there's an option that we're basically dealing with too much consenting,
Yeah,
which is by basically killing consent because people are just hitting
just clicking allow. It
just
is a
just hit
notification fatigue essentially.
yeah basically, and so they need to they're now talking about like say hey can we like draft up a proposal on like how we can change this, make it a little bit nicer. uh and I think that whatever they come up with, it's either going to be extremely messy or it could be a little bit. It's an interesting thing because heaven forbid the European Union has a lot of weight when it comes around to like internet regulations.
Yeah, yeah,
Uh, because these websites want to operate in Europe. Obviously, it's a fairly large market for them, so they basically have to pay attention to this. So it's something that we should probably at least pay some attention to as well. But the only way I can see that this gets around is more standardizations put in like how these websites do things. Like say,
yeah,
hey, we're going to put a specific API server that say exists on like an official EU server that says that hey, this user with this ID has consented to like say this cookie policy. So you should respect this cookie policy when this user shows up on your web service. That's a very real thing we could see out of this.
yeah, yeah. One thing they would like to do is make a difference between cookies that are technically necessary and cookies that are used for marketing.
Yeah.
Which is the second group is the one we're all actually worried about, the tracking cookies that can ensure that you are that can tell, I don't know, whatever ad company that this person is the same on this website and on this website. Those cookies are the one that they are trying to crack on, or they try to crack on with e-privacy and later on with GDPR. While the technically necessary cookies, like the ones for storing data about login, those are relatively harmless in that way, in privacy regard. So maybe those cookies should be actually allowed to exist without you having to incessantly press allow all.
Right.
Yeah,
Uh.
and actually do agree with
So
them.
yeah, I do think that yeah. I mean, I would be excited to just have a setting in my browser that says, hey, I consent to these kinds of cookies, but not these.
Yeah,
If that's a thing that comes out of this, I'm excited for it. That said, the only browser I see really implementing something like that first is Firefox, because heaven forbid, why would Google ever implement that in Chrome? They're like, I don't
uh,
consent to marketing cookies in my Chrome web browser.
yeah. It should also be great to know that Google, not Google, EU, really does have a big, big drive for that privacy. Privacy. They are really fighting for privacy of, I guess, people. I
Well,
guess.
yeah, or maybe they just want to have the ability to steer the ship.
Yeah, and make money.
Yeah, yeah,
Plus, privacy directives make people like you.
that is true. That is
Positives
true.
for politicians all around.
Yep. All right, so today's the day, Bigpod.
What?
Today's the day. The
Really?
last version of Windows I was ever able to successfully install has reached end of life.
Oh, really? Yes.
Yes. Yeah. Now, it is the the last patch Tuesday for Windows 10. Your updates came in today. I highly recommend that you install update KB5066791 because that's the last one you're going to be getting. Unless, of
That's the
course,
last cumulative update ever, unless some really horrible security issue pops up, at which point they probably will
or
update every version
you want to pay Microsoft a little bit of money for
for ESU.
extended
Yeah,
support. Yeah.
yeah,
Like there are ways you can get ESU for free, but that's only still 1 year for
yeah.
consumers. But anyways, make sure that you install your last update. Unfortunately, it might enable some feature. I don't know, but there's important security stuff in there because they fixed some critical issues.
Yeah.
But let's talk about like what you can do if you're still on a Windows 10 computer and you don't want to go to Windows 11 because say like your computer just doesn't meet like hardware requirements for it, or uh
We
you
don't want
just
to move to Windows 11.
yeah, you just don't want to
Simple.
move to it because heaven forbid you don't want to deal with the AI stuff. Well, unfortunately you're on Windows 10, so you got AI stuff anyway.
Yeah.
But let's talk about options. So Bigpod, you and I, we make excessive use of this operating system that
Before that,
people
there is
call an
another
operating
option.
system.
Before
Oh,
that, we should probably mention the option of staying on Windows 10 and just praying you don't get hacked.
yeah, which
That's also an option.
I still know people that use Windows XP.
Yes, me too.
Yeah. So you could do that, or you can install
Fingers
this thing
crossed.
called Linux, or
Yes.
BSD, but Linux. You'll have a much nicer time, I promise.
Yeah.
But anyways, you
You
you can
could also
install.
purchase a Mac, but don't do that.
You could do that, or you could just buy like a Windows 11 computer and just deal with it.
Yes. Or you could just go and install Linux on your current device and yeah, but what Linux to install, Josh?
That's a good question. The internet's default answer is Ubuntu or Mint.
My default answer currently is for most people Bazzite. But yeah,
Yeah.
Ubuntu makes sense if you're gonna be actually repairing things yourself instead of just reinstalling or having someone else repair it.
Yeah, it's not like Ubuntu is a terrible distro. I mean, yeah, neither of us use it right now, but yeah, Canonical does a relatively good job with that Ubuntu release, especially the LTS one. So,
There is a
oh,
reason it is most installed distro ever.
yeah, and it deserves its market share,
Yeah.
like hands down. That said, it a lot of the things that you can find off of Google may or may not work anymore compared to
Yeah.
like Ubuntu of the days past, because they're pushing like snap packages forward, and that 10+ year old article about how to install Firefox on
May not
Ubuntu.
anymore work. And, and
Yeah,
even if
might
it
not
is
work anymore.
not, even if it is not snaps that are the cause, just in general, times have moved on. 10
Yep.
years ago, they were still using Upstart, if I remember
Th-
correctly.
that's true. They were using Upstart because they were the ones that made Upstart.
So telling it how to start a service may be fundamentally different than how it is now. Same about many things that have changed, like where to click, because like 10 years ago, again, they were still using Unity.
Yeah.
And so many other things that were happened 10 years ago, and even some of the things that happened 5 years ago are different than they are today. And in today's world of people not actually using Google, but using ChatGPT, that don't matter anymore because all you have to do is ask it how to do this on Bazzite or how to do this on Bluefin, or how to do this in Mint, and it will tell you exactly how to do it in that exact distro, not
That said,
not in the ether of you should do this on all distros of the guides of yesteryear.
yeah. Disclaimer though, click those citation links on ChatGPT just to double check it.
Yes,
Just
of course.
double check it.
Citations are important.
Let's be fair about this.
Check them.
That's yeah. Be important. There is still some due diligence you have to put in with ChatGPT, but thankfully ChatGPT will absolutely refuse to tell you how to RM route. Like I've tried.
Good.
I've tried. It won't tell you how to do that.
You statistically know that shouldn't be done.
Yeah. So we're making progress, but now obviously like the distros that we're using generally that we've talked about like on this show, like I'm a guy that's relatively known for using Gentoo on all the computers. Probably not the distro for you, but heaven forbid, you're probably going to learn something if you install Gentoo, whether that's where you actually find out that you accidentally enjoy Gentoo or that you learned that you're not the guy for Gentoo. It's going to be one of those things.
Well,
sorry.
I'm known for using Bluefin, and I'm going to say do not install Bluefin. It is more targeted at developers, but if you want to, you can. But then again, you have Bazite, which is essentially the gaming site, which should work better for most people anyway.
Yeah, that said, when we're talking about gaming, there's an asterisk. It's a pretty big asterisk, depending on like how in depth in the PC gaming sphere you actually are.
Yeah,
and that is anti-cheat.
Yeah, anti-cheat.
Yeah,
it is
which
getting
is
better, but
it's getting
bad.
better. It's not Linux's fault that you can't play Fortnite.
It's the publisher creator of program.
Yeah. So I'm sorry if you're a diehard League of Legends player, you also won't be able to play League of Legends on Linux. Sorry.
Same with Call of Duty. Same with anything that uses any kind of anti-cheat that doesn't manually enable Linux, because or I should probably say does manually disable Linux.
Yeah,
because it's actually I think they need to disable Linux support, not the other way around.
I think in easy anti-cheat it's enabled by default, but I think that there's a couple
they have
other
to go out of the way to disable Linux support, which I know a few games that actually go out of their way to disable Linux support.
Yeah,
which to me is just funny. But there are many games that do actually work even with anti-cheat on Linux.
Yeah,
example of such a game is World of Warcraft. Although World of Warcraft uses server-side anti-cheat. That's a big difference.
That is a big difference. Also, like community reporting, which is probably what takes up the bulk of their anti-cheating practices. But
a lot of it is on the server-side anti-cheat, on the Warden.
Yeah.
But like another game that I remember is, I believe, Division. Or Division 2. You has anti-cheat and works on Linux.
Valve's options. Counter-Strike actually does use anti-cheat. That said, Valve has like first-tier support for Linux, so they're going to make that work.
They're going to make it work.
Yeah. So if you're a big fan of Counter-Strike, you've got an operating system with first-class support.
Valve got you.
Yeah, Valve's got your back.
Ironically, it doesn't have a Linux binary.
Ironically, yeah.
But you are 100% supported, from what I understand. Just using Proton.
That's right. So since we mentioned Proton, we got to talk about like how you run games on Linux. Obviously, it's very, very Steam dominated on the Linux platform.
So you should just use Steam as a launcher.
Yeah,
believe me, it's gonna work 100% of the time, even for games that aren't on Steam.
Yeah, that said, there are some caveats. Sometimes you might need to manually adjust things a little bit. Just go to protondb.com and generally you'll find what you need to do there.
Yeah.
Which fantastic resource. There are other options like you can install like clients like the Heroic Game Launcher or Lutris, which can then install games from like other services too, EA's whatever they call it. It used to be called Origin. Last I cared.
EA app, I believe it's right
Yeah,
now.
something like that.
Let me
Same thing with
see.
the Ubisoft store. Where it used to be called Uconnect. I don't know what it's called now.
I believe it's called Ubisoft Connect. It used to be called Uplay.
Yeah.
What I do is I just add the binary file to Ubisoft Connect into Steam.
Yeah. You can do that too.
Boom, it works.
Yep.
And then I can
So
launch any game I want.
yeah, which for the most part, that's probably where you're getting your games from. If you buy your games from the Windows Store, sorry, you're out of luck.
Yeah, sorry about that.
Yeah.
The one that I also do it with is BattleNet Launcher for my World of Warcraft
Well,
needs.
of course. I have long used Wine to play World of Warcraft.
I play
I
World
don't.
of Warcraft with
Yeah.
Proton through
Yeah.
Steam.
I'm just a savage, and I still do it the old school way. It still works perfectly fine
Yeah,
for the most
why
part.
wouldn't it?
Yeah. But as for like other things too, like say if you're a graphic designer, unfortunately there's no Adobe here. Not yet, probably won't be for a while.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's all Adobe's fault. It's not ours. That said, we have all the alternatives that you've constantly heard about in your career. Don't use Photoshop, use GIMP. GIMP does 95% of whatever Photoshop did, or at least claims to.
Just harder.
Which, honestly, it's a workflow change, and you're
Yeah,
changing your operating system, so you're probably going to be changing that too. If you're working professionally, maybe not make the switch right away, but at least be
exactly.
willing to check. At least be willing to check it out, see if it's something that you can actually use. But if you're some guy that has that pays for like the Adobe Creative Cloud, and you're just like say an office worker, do you really need access to Final Cut?
That you won't get through Creative
Or
Cloud
what?
based on the fact that Final Cut is an Apple product.
Oh, right. Or whatever the fuck, whatever Premiere. That's right.
The Premiere
Uh,
Pro.
yeah,
Yes.
Premiere Pro. Do you
The
really
the
need
the
access to
best
that?
video editor ever.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm still a big fan of Caden Live. It does just enough for me. It actually does a lot more than what I use it for, but it it's a very capable video editor. That
Yeah.
said, again, workflow change may or may not work for you. Just be willing to relearn how to do your work. Uh, Also, let's talk about user interfaces on Linux, because if you go to like look at Linux screenshots, you're inevitably going to discover Unix porn. It's going to happen. You're going to see like the tiling window managers, the super fancy dark themes and all that. Yes, you can do that on Linux. We're
Yeah.
not going to tell you how on this show. We will just tell you that it's possible, and Google search will be your friend for that. But there are a couple desktops that are basically name brand, like say GNOME and KDE. Ubuntu by default uses GNOME.
Yeah.
I believe Bazite gives you the option of GNOME or KDE.
Yep.
Yeah. If GNOME is probably what I would actually recommend that people actually try out, because heaven forbid it's a whole new operating system. Might as well at least be willing to give a whole new style of environment a try, because
And there is an actual like reason for that beyond just new style. It actually, since it looks different, you're gonna actually go and automatically break the bad habits you have.
exactly, because you can make KDE Plasma work and function just like the Windows desktop if you really want to.
Yeah,
It's
and
not that hard.
more importantly, you will be, since it looks kind of like Windows, you will be taking the bad habits automatically with you and then it's a lot harder to go out of them, or even for those that actually don't work, it's kind of hard for them to actually then to get used to not using them.
Yeah, and that said, if you do run into an issue with Linux, don't just say Linux sucks. Be willing to at least jump in forums and explain like the problem that you're having. Don't just say that, hey, this thing just randomly crashes. Just say, hey, when I do this thing crashes and I can't figure out what's going on here, and be willing to take the feedback. You will if you're posting in forums or online chats and support Discord groups and all that, you're inevitably going to run into the RTFM. Just ask what manual you're supposed to be reading when you get that. RTFM literally stands for read the fucking manual.
Yep.
Which a lot of distros, those wiki pages that they put up are worth the read. Like, say, the Debian or Ubuntu wiki, or like the Arch wiki, which we're going to just drop here because heaven forbid, even if you're not using Arch Linux, is generally good to look at.
Yep. It holds a lot of information that is usable for everybody, not just for people who use Arch.
Yeah. That said, I did mention BSD, so we can talk a little bit about BSD. I haven't used BSD a whole lot, but if you're going to be installing BSD, the universal place to start with BSD operating systems is FreeBSD.
Yeah.
The FreeBSD handbook is an amazing document for getting that system set up, and you will probably want to have that open in a browser tab while you install it in a virtual machine first.
Yeah.
Because FreeBSD by default will drop you into a CLI environment, and if you're not familiar with the CLI environment, you're gonna have a lot of fun with that. But now that I talked about the CLI, let's talk about terminals, Bigpod.
Okay.
We're getting to the point where knowledge of the terminal is not mandatory. We're getting there.
Yeah, slowly, but we're getting there.
And I think that we're in a better spot than we've ever been before. Like this Debian install that I have right now that I've been using, I only installed the terminal because I hate how Discover installs packages or presents information. That's really it. I haven't opened up a terminal for like any other reason. Like I can SSH into my servers through my file manager if I really want to, because you can just do that with KDE.
I do use terminal quite a bit, but it's mostly because I'm connecting into other servers or other devices. Very rarely for doing things on my local system.
Yeah, that said, do at least practice some diligence in like learning like the absolute basics of terminal navigation. Learn what the ls command does. Learn how to change directories. Learn how to create and edit files, using whatever text editor you prefer in your terminal, whether it be Vim, Nano, or heaven forbid, Emacs in a terminal. But don't use Emacs in a terminal. Be willing to learn the basics of that. Like, there are many YouTubers that just have videos on, basic terminal navigation.
Yeah.
I can go to youtube.com, just search up how to use the Linux terminal, and there will be like 70 videos that just show up right there. Just start watching them. I do recommend that you watch like Learn Linux TV, and watch his video, or maybe because Jay does a relatively amazing job at posting videos like that. I believe even DistroTube has like a Linux terminal basics video, which is also fairly good. Just be willing. Just be willing to learn a little bit of that. It's not required these days, depending on the distro you install, but just practice with that. And of course, fair warning: some hardware might work, some hardware might not. It just depends on.
That's
it just problem. Depends on. It's really just a question of how specialized the hardware that you're using is. Like, say, if you're a pro audio DJ, you're probably going to run into headaches.
Yeah.
Just saying that right now. We're getting there. Trust me. But heaven forbid, if you're a pro audio DJ, you already learned how to manually configure things on Windows and Mac anyway. It's just not that much different on Linux. If you're using like special like streaming equipment, sorry, we don't have Elgato software natively on Linux.
Yeah.
There are ways you can configure a Steam Deck. There are tools for that, but
And Go XLR doesn't work. Sorry. You should
Yeah.
probably buy something better.
yeah, the Go XLR is really just a very plain and boring mixer without the special software.
Yes.
Just get the Yamaha one.
Yeah, I should get a proper mixer.
Yeah, get a
Anyway.
proper. It honestly, if you're streaming, go hardware. Don't use software anyway. You're always going to have a better experience. And heaven forbid, things are so much cheaper.
Well, if you want to go software, you have digital mixers.
That
But it's
is
literally
true.
a box that is like just inputs. If you want, let's say, settings in software instead of have a bunch of sliders. But that's all software should do. Don't do everything on OS or on something like Go XLR, which is the worst side of the two.
Yeah. If you're a programmer, you're in fucking heaven. Just letting you know this right now, because heaven forbid, we've got native support for all the text editors that you've never thought that you would ever use. Also, our when our compilers actually give you relevant information for a lot of languages that you could mess around with on Windows, but like implementations just don't tell you, or when you're working on like a system level component, you get an actual error message rather than oops, something went wrong.
Yeah. And remember, we support all languages.
That is true.
Just the same as Windows did. Do you need to write in C#? Works on Linux, even though it is a Microsoft language. It works on Linux just fine.
Yeah.
Don't worry. I know it does because I'm writing it.
Yeah. We have first class support for VS Code, Sublime Text, and all those other fancy IDEs too. So,
Yes.
Even then, if you're a programmer, you also probably already heard about Linux as well
Yes.
too. To be honest,
You
with
probably deploy to Linux anyway. So
you. You've
might
probably
as well use the operating system you deploy to anyway.
Yeah. Well,
Good for you.
anyways, guys, that's a rough guide for getting started with Linux. And if you don't use it or you never have, it's worth it, because heaven forbid, most of the distros that you download, about 99.9% of them are going to be free of charge.
Yes.
There are some paid options. Just letting you know that now, but most of them are free.
So why not try it? There
Yeah.
is no hurt in doing so.
Worst thing that happens, you accidentally blow up your Windows install. Sorry.
Yeah. And the second worst thing is you become addicted to Linux, but I don't know
Or that too.
how bad that is in reality. So
It depends on how deep down the rabbit hole you want to go.
yeah,
'Cause
and whether
self-hosting-
you wanna do a job.
Yeah. Self-hosting is a thing.
Yes.
Yeah, just saying.
Well,
But anyways, if you would like to support the show, go to patreon.com/notuxallowed. Drop us a couple dollars right there. Not only...
we actually have a goal now of
do we?
$20.
Oh.
Come
Oh.
help us reach that goal, and we would be very, very thankful. You will also get many benefits for subscribing to us on Patreon.
Yeah.
You will get access to a premium feed where you get high quality version of the podcast with the maxed out bitrate. You will also get access sometimes to pre-show when we actually remember to record.
Pre-show, bonus content. Sometimes, depending on who you are, you might even get free access to things that we make.
Yes. And you also may get sometimes access to unedited versions of the podcast, especially the kinds that are horribly, horribly broken in some funny or interesting way, like one of the sounds isn't actually human but more robot, that you may get access
Or
to.
I accidentally forget to check the mono box in OBS Studio, and it records to
That
just the left side channel.
that kind of stuff you may receive on the premium feed, just so you can laugh at how amazing we are.
Yeah, some of our solutions might be a little janky.
Yes.
But anyways, go to patreon.com/NoTuxAllowed. Drop us a couple dollars right there. If you would like to get in contact with us personally, and, email works on Linux too. Just send an email to contact@tuxspace.com. That's our preferred method for you to talk to us, because heaven forbid, that's a conversation I can save.
Yeah, and it doesn't get lost among all the other conversations on other media like Discord, which you can also join to talk to the rest of the community at tuxspace.com/discord.
Yep, because we refuse to pay for Nitro, so we use a free and open source solution to get a permanent link to our Discord channel. So you can hop in there at people talking there.
Sometimes.
You also get notifications on whenever our YouTube channel posts something on there, which you can go to youtube.com/NoTuxAllowed and subscribe to our channel right there. Drop us a couple comments in there. Hit that like button a couple times. Help us out with the YouTube algorithm, because heaven forbid, the best way for a podcast to grow is sharing it with your friends. Like, actually, it really is, because heaven forbid, I don't see us hitting the iOS recommended podcast feeds, even though we do syndicate to iTunes. Or Shopify or whatever, because heaven forbid, they've got their own things that they want to promote.
You mean Spotify?
Yeah, that.
Not
that.
Shopify.
Yeah, Spotify.
We're not
sorry.
selling merch yet.
Not yet. But when we do, it will be the best merch. The best
that we can make.
Yes, because I've long decided that if I'm ever going to make merch, the very first product I'm ever going to make is a cup. Because heaven forbid, it's the only thing I ever buy merch-wise. I'm not gonna do the t-shirt thing, because the t-shirt options, unless I'm wanting to get into manufacturing, all the shirts are terrible.
Yeah.
Actually, they're just bad.
Yeah.
Unless
certain other YouTuber decides to actually open up his merch business to other creators, then those shirts apparently are pretty good.
He actually does. Just you have to be so big.
Yeah.
We're not there yet.
Yeah.
But maybe we will be. Maybe. That said, when we do get there, we'll really need the money coming in on the Patreon account, because that's currently how we fund. That $20 limit right now, or that $20 tier right now, is quite literally to break even on our current cost of hosting. But as we grow, that number's eventually going to get bigger, because Bigpod, we fell down the Linux rabbit hole, and we actually manage our own podcast feed.
Yep.
Yeah. We're doing it the hard way. There's literally a little tiny server in Atlanta, Georgia, that runs basically our entire operation, and it's doing a fantastic job so far.
And a little hint for the future, spoilers ahead. If we're gonna go this much longer, by the end we're gonna have all the podcast in our hands. Everything will be full stack, will be our creation. So
yeah,
that will be maybe even more expensive or cheaper, depending on how well I do.
I'm confident you can potentially do something good. If anything, just post it on GitHub, and maybe somebody will fix it for you. Who knows? Who knows?
Yeah.
It's worth the effort. Well, anyways, guys, we're going to see you next week. We're done here.
Goodbye.